Have you ever felt that your mind is trapped, cycling through the same thoughts, the same patterns, the same limits, imposed by invisible barriers you never consciously chose? Today, you are about to step into a realm where your old mind dissolves, where the familiar confines of thought give way to the possibility of becoming supernaturally awakened. Thoth, the ancient Egyptian deity of wisdom, the scribe of the gods, the guardian of the cosmic records, invites you to release your outdated mental structures and embrace a higher clarity that has always been within you, waiting to be remembered. This is not a journey of spectacle. It is a journey of profound internal recalibration, where every thought you have held about yourself, reality, and time can be transformed into a tool for higher perception. Take a deep breath now and feel the tension in your mind loosen as if invisible locks are falling away. Write in the comments, "I am ready to awaken my mind beyond limits." Let this small act mark the beginning of your commitment to transcendence. And if you truly desire to accelerate your awakening, become a member of our Thoth channel, a sacred space where seekers gather to explore wisdom beyond the ordinary, a place for immediate transformation, exclusive insights, and guidance toward the highest understanding. This moment is yours, but only if you step fully into it. Feel your body sitting here now and imagine that your mind is a mirror. Every image it reflects, every story it tells, is built from patterns inherited, absorbed, and repeated without awareness. Thoth whispers to us through symbols, archetypes, and the silent currents of knowledge. The old mind is a labyrinth, a maze of past conditioning. Yet it is also the doorway. Every tension you feel, every hesitation, is a marker pointing you toward liberation, toward the moment where thought no longer controls you, but you control thought. Sense this now. Your mind is not merely yours. It is a vessel for the universal intelligence, the logos that Thoth embodies, the mind that observes, records, and transforms. Notice how easy it is to believe that your limits are fixed. The stories you tell yourself, "I cannot," "This is impossible," "I am not enough," are not truths but inherited scripts. Thoth teaches us that consciousness is malleable, that the universe itself bends to the mind aligned with truth. Feel it. Each heartbeat, each pulse, carries the rhythm of cosmic law. As above, so below. Your mental frameworks echo these universal patterns. When you dismantle a thought, an assumption, a belief, you are not losing anything. You are aligning with the eternal flow of intelligence that sees through time, through cause and effect, that knows the secret that the old mind hides. Now, imagine a library of infinite light, the Akashic records of your own soul. Each memory, each decision, each moment of awareness is cataloged here, accessible to the scribe within you. Thoth, the eternal observer, invites you to explore this library without fear, without hesitation. To destroy your old mind is to reorganize this library, to release outdated entries and make space for new knowledge, wisdom, and clarity. Visualize the pages glowing as they rearrange themselves, as if a light from within is correcting every misconception, every misalignment, every limitation. Consider the patterns in your daily life, how often you react without thinking, how often your emotions hijack your perception. These are not your enemies, they are messengers. Observe them, record them, transmute them. The Hermetic principle of mentalism reminds us the mind is everything. The universe is mental. If you master the mind, even in small ways, you touch the foundation of reality itself. Begin to notice your thoughts as if they are clouds drifting across a vast sky. You can watch them without attachment, without judgment. The old mind fears this because it equates identity with thought. But you are more than thought. You are the awareness that watches. As you deepen this awareness, feel a subtle vibration in your chest, around your heart, and your head at the point known as the third eye. Thoth's energy, archetypal and eternal, aligns your perception with the patterns of cosmic intelligence. Every observation becomes more precise, every insight more immediate. You are learning the secret of polarity. Every limitation you see is paired with its potential, Every shadow contains light waiting to emerge. Notice how this awareness already changes your perception of simple daily choices, of your responses, of your energy. Even the smallest alignment has immense power when multiplied by attention. It is common to resist change because the old mind clings to safety. Yet consider, what is safety if it is merely repetition, stagnation, and unconscious conformity? Thoth teaches that the mind that does not evolve becomes a cage. To dismantle this cage is to engage in daily mental alchemy, observing thoughts, questioning assumptions, feeling emotions fully but lightly, integrating experiences without being consumed by them. Small, consistent mental exercises like focusing on a single symbol or reflecting on a principle, such as cause and effect, begin to rewire perception. The mind becomes a tool, no longer a master. Notice the rhythm of your breath now. Inhale the possibility of awakening. Exhale the limits you have inherited. Visualize each exhale carrying away the old scripts, the conditioned fears, the mental stories that no longer serve you. Feel your nervous system aligning with a higher cadence. Thoth is both the guide and the archetype within this process. When the mind relaxes and observes itself without judgment, it accesses the clarity that has always been present, like a hidden river flowing beneath frozen ice. This clarity is not magical, it is natural, intrinsic, a reflection of the universal mind. Observe your daily patterns of attention. Where does your mind wander? What feeds it? What depletes it? Thoth emphasizes mastery through observation. The scribe of the gods is not forcing knowledge upon you. He is guiding you to see patterns invisible to ordinary perception. Begin to catalog your mental habits with precision, noting recurring thoughts, emotions, and reactions. This process is not about judgment. It is about creating a mirror where the mind sees itself clearly. Awareness itself begins to dissolve resistance. Each day, set a small internal ritual, a pause, a breath, a reflection. Ask, what thought patterns am I carrying that are no longer mine? What inherited beliefs dictate my actions? In this simple practice, the old mind slowly begins to fragment, not violently, but gracefully, revealing gaps where insight and intuition can enter. Thoth's guidance emphasizes that destruction is not annihilation, it is transformation. The old mind becomes fertilizer for new understanding, the compost of wisdom from which a renewed consciousness blooms. Feel the sensation of time differently. The old mind measures moments in routine, in obligation, in limitation. The awakened mind experiences layers of time simultaneously. Past lessons, present awareness, and future possibilities converge in each decision, each perception. Thoth, the Lord of Time, whispers that mastery over mental perception changes your relationship with life itself. Even simple moments carry infinite potential when observed consciously. You are no longer a passenger of circumstance, you are an architect of attention. Consider the law of correspondence. As above, so below. What exists in your inner world mirrors the outer. Every unresolved pattern in thought resonates externally. By dismantling mental structures, you shift external perception too, not magically, but because the observer within has changed. Life becomes a reflection of clarity, simplicity, and alignment. Each interaction, each choice, resonates with the new architecture of your mind. The old mental constructs no longer dominate your interpretations. Begin to integrate imagination consciously. Visualization is a tool, a sacred instrument, not fantasy. Picture yourself stepping out of limiting thought, seeing the world through expanded awareness, observing cause and effect in every interaction. The archetypes of Thoth, Hermes Trismegistos, the scribe of celestial records, become living symbols within your mind. Their presence activates internal coding, discipline, observation, curiosity, and profound clarity. Each symbol becomes a key, unlocking latent faculties of insight. As you continue, notice the quality of silence within your mind. Thoughts do not have to scream to exist. Thoth teaches that true intelligence flows through subtlety, through observation, through the stillness that surrounds thought. In this stillness, intuition and insight emerge. Small flashes of understanding reveal the structure of reality and the mind's role within it. These moments are fleeting but infinitely instructive, like glimpses of the hidden architecture behind ordinary perception. Every day, revisit your mental patterns and notice evolution. Where once fear dictated decisions, now awareness guides them. Where once repetition dominated, creativity emerges. The process is cumulative. Dismantling the old mind is not an event. It is continuous, subtle, and profound. Thoth's archetype reminds us the scribe does not rush. He records, observes, corrects, and waits for readiness. Your readiness is the signal for deeper transformation. Engage with symbols consciously. Letters, numbers, images, gestures, or archetypal concepts can serve as mirrors of internal processes. Observe reactions without labeling them as right or wrong. Thoth's wisdom lies in the capacity to perceive these patterns and decode their meaning internally. Each symbol is a thread in the tapestry of understanding, each insight a step toward mental clarity and awakening. Notice the patterns of emotion as well. Emotion is energy in motion. It flows through the mind and body simultaneously. By observing emotional currents without resistance, you allow the old mind to release its grip. This does not require suppression or indulgence, only precise observation. The archetype of Thoth guides the mind to perceive emotion as information, as a signal of alignment or misalignment, rather than as an obstacle. Finally, understand that awakening is iterative. The mind, once rigid, becomes fluid, expansive, and observant. The old frameworks dissolve continuously as attention sharpens. Thoth, the guardian of knowledge, assures that this path is ongoing. Each observation, each reflection, each conscious act is a fragment of the awakening process. You are becoming both student and scribe, witness and creator, observer and participant simultaneously. Now, sense the energy of these teachings settling within you, not as a spectacle, but as a quiet realignment. The mind that once held limits is expanding, restructuring, and awakening. You are not finished. You are only beginning. Observe, practice, and return. Notice the next thought, the next impulse, the next moment of awareness. Each one is a portal. Each one is a fragment of Thoth's guidance made tangible in your consciousness. And so, as you move forward, continue to question, to observe, to refine. The old mind will resist in small ways, but each observation, each conscious breath, each reflection serves to fragment the habitual patterns, revealing clarity, wisdom, and presence. The journey is infinite, layered, and profoundly personal. Your awakening is not a destination, but an unfolding, a continuous dance with awareness itself. The next thought, the next insight, the next recognition, what will it reveal about the structures you still carry and the freedom you can embrace? Imagine for a moment that every belief you hold about yourself is like an ancient scroll, written in ink that fades but never fully disappears. Thoth, the scribe of the gods, teaches that the act of awakening begins not by adding knowledge, but by dissolving what you mistakenly believed was solid. As your mind unclogs itself from these layered assumptions, a clarity emerges that feels both strange and familiar. You begin to perceive patterns in your life not as obstacles, but as messages, and the very act of observing them reshapes the mental landscape. The old mind resists because it thrives on certainty, yet certainty is a prison disguised as comfort. You feel the paradox. Freedom emerges precisely when nothing is fixed, when thought itself is a tool and not a master. Notice how time itself starts to bend as you step deeper. Past decisions, memories, and regrets are no longer chains. They are signals pointing to the latent intelligence of your consciousness. Thoth's archetype reminds you that your mind is not linear. It is a multidimensional archive. Each memory, each perception carries encoded wisdom. By allowing yourself to witness without attachment, the mind's habitual scripts begin to loosen. You sense a shift, subtle yet profound, in how you experience cause and effect. Your choices are no longer dictated by repetition. They emerge from insight, resonance, and inner alignment. Begin to sense the subtle vibration of intention within you. This is not about force, willpower, or control. It is about the alignment of perception, energy, and attention. As the old mind dissolves, the clarity of intention becomes a lighthouse guiding your awareness through the fog of habitual thought. Each moment becomes a laboratory of observation. What you attend to expands. What you ignore dissipates. The scribe within, Thoth, is not teaching tricks, but inviting a recalibration of inner vision. You are learning to see the unseen, not with eyes, but with the full spectrum of consciousness. Look at the space between your thoughts. This space, often overlooked, is the canvas where creation occurs. Most believe thought must be constant to be productive, yet wisdom flows precisely in the pauses, in the gaps, in the stillness. Here, Thoth's voice is subtle. Observe what arises when no thought dominates. The mind that grasps this principle begins to move differently in the world. Decisions are no longer reactive. They are responsive. The body, the breath, the heart, the energy of attention all converge into a coherent, flowing intelligence that operates beyond habitual perception. Now, notice your sense of identity. The old mind insists on labels, roles, and attachments as if they define the essence of who you are. Yet, Thoth shows that identity is more like a river than a stone. It flows, shifts, and reflects the light of awareness. When you release rigid identification, perception itself expands. The thoughts that once seemed unavoidable begin to appear optional. Even emotions, once commanding, become tools of insight, revealing the undercurrents of consciousness without controlling the vessel of awareness. This is a subtle but radical shift. You are no longer contained by the architecture of inherited patterns. Sense the interplay of memory and imagination. They are not separate. They are threads woven from the same loom of consciousness. Thoth teaches that the mind becomes awakened when it can navigate these threads fluidly, when memory does not confine and imagination does not distract. The act of creation, internal, subtle, symbolic, transforms perception of reality itself. Each visualization, each internal mapping, acts as a key unlocking new neural pathways, creating space for awareness to inhabit its natural expansiveness. The old mind fears this fluidity because it implies uncertainty, yet that very uncertainty is the doorway to profound clarity. Consider the sensation of energy in your body. The old mind interprets sensation as reaction, habit, or impulse. But as Thoth guides, these are signals, indicators of alignment or misalignment with the deeper currents of consciousness. To feel without judgment is to perceive reality through a higher lens. Tension becomes a teacher, relaxation becomes a guide, and every subtle pulse carries meaning. Observation, not manipulation, is the practice. Through this, awareness matures, and the old mind, once dominant, recedes quietly, replaced by perceptual clarity and internal resonance. Focus now on the principle of rhythm, one of Thoth's universal laws. Life itself oscillates between expansion and contraction, attention and rest, insight and reflection. Your mind, once rigid and resistant, begins to flow with these rhythms rather than against them. Even the simplest daily events reveal patterns if you observe without attachment. This attunement transforms the ordinary into profound guidance. The old belief that control equals power falls away, revealing that the real power lies in alignment, timing, and precise perception. Pay attention to language within your mind. Words are not mere labels, they are vibrations, containers of meaning and influence. Thoth teaches that when you observe how language structures thought, you discover freedom within subtlety. By consciously choosing words, mental images, and internal narratives, the mind restructures itself. You no longer react unconsciously to inherited phrasing or habitual dialogue. Instead, your inner dialogue becomes a tool of awakening, a mirror reflecting both consciousness and clarity. Imagine the infinite library of symbols, each carrying encoded intelligence. Thoth's teachings are accessible not through memorization, but through internalization, resonance, and reflection. Symbols act as keys, unlocking patterns in your perception, your choices, and your alignment with subtle currents of awareness. Each symbol you encounter is an invitation to observe, decode, and integrate. The mind that sees symbols as alive rather than abstract begins to navigate reality with unprecedented precision. Sense the interplay of light and shadow within thought. Thoth demonstrates that darkness is not absence, but potential, and light is not clarity alone, but activation. The old mind categorizes, resists, and fears. The awakened mind observes, integrates, and transforms. You begin to perceive that limitations, once seen as obstacles, are signals of potential mastery. Each mental shadow carries a complementary pattern, a mirror that reveals opportunity where previously there seemed only confinement. Notice how easily patterns recur without conscious observation. This repetition is not a flaw, it is data. Thoth's archetype teaches that observation itself is transformative. By tracking recurring thoughts, responses, and habits, the mind begins to untangle entrenched scripts. Awareness of these loops is a powerful act of liberation. Each recognition is a step toward self-authored perception, where choice replaces habit and clarity replaces automaticity. Now focus on subtle shifts in perception. As the old mind loosens, you notice details previously invisible, micro-patterns in behavior, fleeting thoughts, tiny emotional currents. These fragments are portals. Thoth's guidance emphasizes the cumulative effect of subtle observation. The mind expands in increments imperceptible yet transformative. Each insight, no matter how small, reshapes internal architecture, increasing capacity for awareness, choice, and resonance. Reflect on how every mental construct is a mirror of a universal principle. The Hermetic maxim, "as above so below," is not metaphor, it is experiential. Patterns within your mind mirror the patterns of reality. By observing and restructuring internal frameworks, external perception subtly shifts. Awareness does not control events. It reshapes the interpretation and interaction with them. The mind becomes a lens of higher fidelity, capturing the underlying harmonics of existence rather than merely reacting to surface phenomena. Sense the subtle rhythm of attention. Focus and distraction are not enemies, but expressions of inner state. Thoth teaches that mastery lies in directing attention consciously, cultivating awareness of where energy flows without force or strain. Even mundane tasks, when observed with intentionality, become laboratories for expansion. The mind begins to recognize opportunity in each moment, turning what once seemed ordinary into catalysts for insight. Notice how the perception of challenge transforms. What was previously resistance is now feedback. Thoth's archetype encourages seeing obstacles as mirrors for deeper alignment. Mental effort without awareness becomes toil. Effort guided by conscious observation becomes art. Each challenge reveals structural patterns within thought, offering opportunities for recalibration, reflection, and expansion. You realize the mind is not trapped but intricate, infinitely malleable, and responsive to attention. Consider your inner narrative. Each story you tell yourself creates a current in consciousness. Thoth teaches that observing, questioning, and subtly reshaping these narratives transforms not only thought, but lived experience. Awareness of narrative structure creates distance, clarity, and freedom. Emotional currents flow more fluidly. Insights arrive unexpectedly. As the mind sheds rigid expectations and opens to the intelligence inherent in observation. Sense the interplay of continuity and interruption. Thought naturally moves in sequences, yet awakening occurs in the precise balance of observing flow and noticing gaps. Thoth's guidance highlights that internal pauses are not voids but fertile ground. Insight arises in these micro-intervals, small yet powerful. The awakened mind perceives sequences, repetitions and deviations simultaneously, enabling subtle recalibration of both internal and external experience. Focus on the emergent quality of consciousness itself. As the old mind disassembles, the observer within becomes clearer. You begin to sense layers of perception, previously inaccessible. Awareness of thought, awareness of perception, awareness of context. Thoth's archetype exemplifies this meta-perception. The scribe observes without interference, registering patterns and guiding insight. You are now cultivating this internal scribe, noticing the subtle currents beneath the surface of everyday awareness. Finally, observe the way attention amplifies potential. Each act of conscious noticing strengthens the mind's capacity to discern, integrate, and align. Old patterns, once unquestioned, begin to unravel. Thoth's teachings do not impose change. They reveal the structure of awareness, allowing the mind to reorganize itself naturally. With each moment of observation, the mind becomes sharper, more fluid, and attuned to the infinite intelligence that underlies all form. And as you notice this unfolding, ask yourself, what patterns still quietly shape my perception? And how will I choose to observe them next? Take this moment to anchor the change. Write the phrase above in the comments and feel it resonate as a subtle vibration within. The mind, once cluttered and bound, now begins to navigate awareness with precision, recognizing patterns, symbols, and currents previously invisible. Each thought becomes a thread, each perception a key. The old mind no longer dictates. Observation and alignment guide every movement. Join this sacred circle of seekers. Becoming a member here is not a subscription, it is a seal, an acknowledgement of initiation, and a place where the hidden wisdom of Thoth unfolds continuously.